to meet all the demands of apartheid's victims.
Some things never change. The soldiers of the new South Africa march to the tunes of the country's colonial past. But this is a day for the new elite, the hierarchy of freedom. Parliament's courtyard was a mixture of Western finery and African elegance.
Thank you so much.
As the ceremonial guns fired out across Table Bay, Nelson Mandela took the salute outside Parliament, showing respect to Distem, the Afrikaner anthem that once represented his people's oppression. Last year it was enough that Mr. Mandela was entering Parliament at all. Today he had to show what his government had done with the power bestowed on it. He sounded more like politicians everywhere. A call for patience.
It is important that we rid ourselves of the culture of entitlement. We must not allow ourselves to be seduced into a world of false hopes.
The emphasis was on what South Africans could do for themselves. He railed against the strikes and demonstrations, some violent, that have become commonplace.
Some of those who have initiated and participated in such activities have misread freedom to mean license. They have wrongly concluded that an elected government of the people is a government that is open to compulsion through acts of anarchy.
So the man whose very name once embodied the culture of protest now calls for stability and cooperation. The reality of power has wrought its change on Nelson Mandela and the ANC. From freedom fighter to president, from liberation movement to party of government. George Alagaya, BBC News, Cape Town.
In Spain, a former...
...containing part of the AIDS virus. And a group of plants like that would produce enough modified virus to service thousands of vaccine doses potentially.
Using an AIDS virus, scientists identify a small part of its protein coat. The genetic material which makes that part is copied and incorporated into the genetic material of the cowpea virus. When grown in the cowpea plant, it produces a huge number of hybrid viruses, which have bits of the AIDS virus coat on their surface. The genetic material is rubbed onto the leaves of plants. As the infection spreads, the plant begins to look pretty sick. The leaves are collected and ground down so the viruses can be extracted. At Warwick University, the viruses are used as a vaccine and given to mice. They remain well and produce large amounts of antibody against the AIDS virus protein. Vaccines from plants have some distinct advantages in theory over those derived from animals. They're cheaper and safer. No one is sure yet whether such vaccines will actually protect against HIV, but those involved are hopeful the vaccines will eventually prove useful.
I think we're optimistic that it would work in humans as well. Mice and people have very similar immune systems. So it would really, put it this way, it would be surprising if it didn't work.
Similar research is being done on vaccines against foot and mouth disease and malaria. James Wilkinson, BBC News.
The state of